everyone, it's Haresh here. Today we're going to be learning about how to factor trinomials. So the thing about trinomials is that tri means 3 and then nomial means many. So 3 terms. We think nomial numbers are many is 3 terms, right? 3 terms is also many. So we're going to be learning about how to factor a trinomial. So I remember a long time ago when we learned how to actually do the distributive property, right? So let's say, for example, we had an x, in parentheses, let's say we had an x squared plus 2x. We would distribute this x in order to solve for the expression. We would distribute this x to all the terms in the brackets. Actually, in today's video, we're going to be doing the opposite. We're going to be creating an expression as such. So let's try and do this. In order to do this, we have to look at all the terms, all the coefficient, all the variables, and all the exponents, and we have to figure out what's common between all the terms in this expression. And we would move it to the outside of the parentheses in order to create something like as shown. So the first thing we're going to do is try and factor out our coefficients. So in this case, we have a coefficient of 5. And the other term, we have a coefficient of 5. The other term, we have a coefficient of 90. But 5 can go into 90, so we can make a nice trinomial here. So let's factor out this 5 for sure. So we're going to rewrite the 5. Next, we're going to look at the second term in the bracket, or second term in this expression, and we have a b. And that's good. So we have a b in the second one as well. And they're all raised to the first power, And this b over here, we also have a b. So we can also factor out a b. That's nice. Now we're going to look at the third term. So in this case, we have an x for sure. We're going to factor out an x. At least one x. The second term, we have 2 x's. Here we have 3 x's. So we have x raised to the second power. Okay? And then the third term, we have x raised to the first power. So that would mean that we can only actually factor out 1 x. And now we're going to rewrite it by actually factoring it out. So if we were to remove a 5, a b, and an x from the first term, well, 5 divided by 5 cancels out. And b divided by b cancels out, and x divided by an x, that would mean x to the first power minus 3 minus 1, which is 2. So in the first term, we're going to get is x raised to the second power. Remember, x plus, when we add exponents, when we multiply two numbers with an exponent of the same base, we get to add the exponents. So we're going to get 1 plus 2, which is 3. So let's look at the second term. So here, the 5 cancels out with the 5, the b cancels out with the b, the x raised to the first power cancels out with one of the x raises to the first power. So we're left with x. And we're going to keep this arithmetic simple. We're going to keep it as negative, and we're going to multiply by x. Remember, when we add exponents, or when we multiply, right? In this case, we're multiplying. We're going to add exponents, which is x squared. So next, let's look at the next term in the brackets. Now we have a 90 as a coefficient. Well, 5 divided by 90, that's negative 18. Or actually, 5 divided by 90 is positive 18. And then we have a negative. A positive times a negative is a negative. Next term. Sorry, the next part of this expression is a b. Well, we can cancel out b for sure. And we can also cancel an x. So this is our final solution, or the factored trinomial. Actually, we should be simplifying this way further using what we call the quadratic formula. And today's video, we're actually not going to go in depth of the quadratic formula. I'm going to save that for another video. But if you really wanted to know what a quadratic formula was, and that's going to be, let's use a better color. That's going to be x is equal to negative b plus or minus. Actually, you guys can follow along and try and solve using this. In the next video, you can see if you guys were right. So negative b divided by b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. It's like, what? Well, what is this, Haresh? There's like so many variables here, and you have plus and minus, you have a square root. Yeah, we're going to take care of all this in another future video. But all you have to know is that in this case, this is our a, right? This is our a. This is our b term. And then this is our c term. The negative 18 is our c term. So we would sub in all these terms and we would solve in order to get our final answer. But it's okay. We're going to touch on another example and learn more about factoring trinomials before we get to the quadratic formula. So, once again, let's see what we can factor out. In this case, we have a negative. We're working with lots of negatives here. Here we're working positive. Now we're going to work on negatives. So, the first thing I can see is we have a negative 4 in the first term. We also have a negative 8 in the second term. Okay, interesting. Negative 4 is a multiple of negative 8. Okay, we also have a 72, a positive 72. So that's there as well. So I'm assuming we can factor out a negative 4 for sure. We can factor out a negative 4. So we're going to rewrite this on the side. And now we're going to look at the second term. Well, the second term, we have an x raised to the third power. So x raised to the third power. And then we also have an x raised to the second power. Okay. And then we just have an x. So in this case, we can only factor out an x. So we're going to get a negative 4x. Now let's actually go into the simplifying. Well, when we simplify, right? Let's see. Negative 4 divided by negative 4, that just crosses out. X to the first power divided by x to the third power, that's x to the second power. Let's say the next term. Negative 4 divided by negative 8, well, negative divided by negative is a positive. So we're going to get a positive 2. And then we're going to look at the second part of this term, and we have an x squared. Well, 2 minus 1 is 1. So we're going to get just x. And now we have a positive 72. Well, 72 divided by negative 4, that's negative 18. A positive, right? A positive divided by negative is negative. And then 72 divided by 4 is going to be a negative 18. So that's going to be our final solution as of right now, since we're not using the quadratic formula. So I hope you guys found this video useful on factoring trinomials. Please subscribe and watch out for the next video.